Welcome, everybody to Trainwrecked Comic Fandom for Life. I am your host, Joseph Vitson. I am an aspiring comic book writer, a digital inker, as well as almost a 40-year fan of what we call comic books. And today, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to take a look at some comics. So, not to scare anybody away, I'm going to turn on my camera here. You get to see my lovely face, and we're going to talk some comics. All right. Hey, everybody. I hope everyone's doing well today, Wednesday, the 9th of September. Um, this setup is a little bit different than what I've normally had. I got a wonderful birthday gift from my wife. She bought me a Huon Canvas Pro 16-inch tablet monitor. And already I've only had it since my birthday, which was the 30th of August, and we've already developed kind of a love-hate relationship with one another. There are definitely aspects that I like about working on a bigger tablet than I've ever had before. But switching from a Wacom Intuos or a Wacom Cintiq to going to a Huon is a lot different. So, but I had to arrange things around a little bit so you get to see my TV and my Xbox, and there's my bedroom door. So let's talk some comics. So the first comic I'm going to talk about is from Secret Comics, and it is called Stardust. This comic was written by Nasser Rabadi with art by Sean Langley, letters by Joey Turnage. And this is the second printing, so the cover is by Ben Jones. I actually contacted Nasser Rabadi directly on Twitter, which I think is Nasser Rabadi 13. And if you get interested in this book or you want to check it out, he still, I believe, still has some. So he'll hook you up if you want some books. I thought the story was okay. I feel like some parts kind of lost me a little bit. And that's not saying that Nasser is a bad writer or a good writer or whatever. It's just, for me, the story really didn't speak to me. The artwork is not necessarily artwork that I prefer in comic books. I'll give you a look, though. I do like the fact it's in black and white. I think sometimes it's really beneficial to see the artwork kind of in this kind of form. Sometimes when you get a colorist, they'll come in and they do their work, but it just covers everything up. Some pages I do like, though. I'm not going to say that every page is not like what I look for in a comic book. It's just this style of artwork is really just not what usually grabs me to a comic. I know there's people out there who are very writer based. Like, as long as the story is good, the artwork, can be whatever it is. For me, especially with a visual medium, I've always been drawn to the artwork first. So I kind of leafed through this book. I noted that, like, there are pages where I guess the art kind of speaks to me a little bit, but overall, this just isn't really like the style of art that I would normally pick up in a book. But I was happy to support Nasser. And like I said, you can find him, I think it's Nasser Rabadi 13 on Twitter. And he has extras, so you just hit him up and he'll send them to you. He's a real nice guy about that. So the next book is also by Nasser and Sean Langley and Joey Turnage. And this book I got into a little bit more. So, I don't want people thinking that I'm trying to badmouth a writer or an artist team. I respect them for putting out a comic book. It's just, like I said, it's like sometimes, I don't get into the story, or sometimes the art just doesn't really speak to me. And I'm not putting anybody down. It takes a lot of work to put a comic book together. So I respect everybody that took part in these books for doing that. So this book is called Trixie Kane, Blood Reaper, Book 1. Like I said, same team of Nasser Rabadi, Sean Langley, Joey Turnage with the lettering. And then also, I didn't know I was going to get this, but I got a second book with a John Malin cover. So if you're a Graveyard Shift fan or a fan of his artwork from his Marvel days or Image days or wherever else he worked, I know he did Marvel. I think he worked with Rob Liefeld on some stuff as well. But really cool cover. Really like this cover. This cover speaks to me a little bit more. This is what I kind of expect and like to see in a comic book. And like I said, this is just my preferences. Um, Story, liked it a lot. If you like vampires, if you like werewolves, hints of secret societies, this book is for you. Once again, the artwork didn't necessarily speak to me. Wasn't really a style that I get into too much. Um, but the story, I felt the story was a lot better, a lot more complete and evenly paced than um, Stardust was. So, um, would I recommend Stardust? I mean, if you're, if you're just a fan of comics, yeah, I would say reach out to Nasser and buy it and support him on his books. Um, but I would go more for the Trixie Kane. I think the story was better, well written. The artwork, like I said, isn't necessarily what I would normally buy, but I think it's a good book. I don't think these are very expensive, but like I said, you can contact Nasser through Twitter. I'm sorry if you heard that. We have a dog, and I think someone came home, and she gets really excited when someone comes home. She loves us. Um, Next thing, we're going to jump from comics for a few seconds, and I want to introduce you to a book written by an author you might not have heard of, Nasser Rabadi. Right, it's turning into the Nasser Rabadi Show. This is called Inner Demons, the sequel to Eternity. I read Eternity. I liked the book. I thought the story was well written. I actually even wrote a review on it where I said that I kind of akin Nasser's novel writing to maybe the very early works of John Saul, which is a writer I've loved since I was a teenager. So with Inner Demons, Nasser improves even more over from Eternity. You have characters that you can relate to. You get into the story, you get into the situations. It's easy to get lost in the pages. Once you pick it up, it's one of those reads that are, you don't want to put it down. You could actually read it in one sitting. I had to break it up because of schedules and stuff like that and health issues, but it's about 203 pages. I think these sell for like $10 on Amazon. If you just search Nasser Rabadi or Inner Demons, you'll find it. Eternity is the first book. Inner Demons is the second, and I believe Nasser is working on getting the third book out, which is a prequel. So it's going to be a 3-book series, I think. Like I said, this is like a really good short read. It's not a heavy novel. It's not something that just drags out and drags out and drags out. Nasser seems to be a writer who can get to the point, get you into the meat of what he's trying to tell you, that presents you with the story, and it just it sucks you in. It literally does. And I was very pleased with this. And I even wrote a review on this one on Amazon, and I said, I did compare his writing to the early works of John Saul, and it's great to be right, because I think he's getting better with each novel. When he puts out the third book, I expect it to be better than this. But you can also get these on Kindle as well, and I think they're only like $1 or $2 on Kindle. And I think he has, I want to say 4 or 5 books on Amazon, so you could actually, get 5 books for about $10 to $11. That's not a bad deal if you're a horror fan, and I'm a horror fan. So, um, really good deal. But I wanted the hard copy. You know, I believe in supporting independent people, and you know, even when I sit there and go, listen, you know, I got lost in the story, or it wasn't for me, or the art didn't appeal to me, or whatever. I'm not, you know, trying to put people down. Like I said, it's very difficult to write a comic book, get an artistic team on board, you know, get the book printed, um, get it fulfilled. And as you can see, you know, I didn't really show it off. I mean, this is a pretty thick book. You know, it's very well packaged, nice paper. You know, like there are pages that I do like um, of Sean's work. It's just, like I said, overall, it's just not the artwork that really speaks to me. You know, but I would recommend people give it a try. You know, if you can reach out to Nasser, then um, you know, he probably take care of you. All right, the next comic book. The biggest name in crowdfunding today, Ethan Van Sciver. If you follow Indiegogo, you follow the trends. You've seen that Cyberfrog Blood Honey made over $1 million. The follow-up, which is coming out hopefully before Christmas, but it does have a release time of around, I think, January 2021. But Ethan has said he's going to try to get it out before Christmas. You know, which will be Cyberfrog Wreck Planet. So he put up these books, and I really wasn't sure about him at first. What he did was Ethan, I guess, had the artwork for his old books that he did back in the 90s. I can't remember if these are Harris Comics or is it Hall of Heroes. It says here, hold on one second here. Yeah, I think this is Hall of Heroes stuff. But you got Cyberfrog, Unforgettable Tales. I'm sorry for the crappy lighting, guys. This is a very shiny cover, so it might be very hard to see. So he went back and he took his Hall of Heroes books, had them recolored by Kyle Ritter. If anybody knows Kyle, he is a phenomenal colorist. I think probably one of the best in the business, and Ethan, I think, is very blessed to have him as a creative talent working on his books. So he took his books from back in 1993, 94, I think, and had Kyle to recolor it. He got with Eric Weathers, who is a wonderful letterer, as well as a writer and creator of his own. He has, what is it? And I don't remember the book now. I know Flying Fortress, you can still get copies of. And then he has another book, which I can't remember the name of. I'm sorry, Eric. It'll probably come to me, and I'll get it out. Now, this book is like, this paper is almost as thick as the cover, but it's the original art from the 90s that Ethan drew, remastered, as you could say, recolored, or I don't even think they were colored. I think they were actually just black and white comic books. The story, the character of Cyberfrog is a lot different in this book than it is in Blood Honey, and I'm sure, you know, way different than in Wreck Planet. I don't think Ethan really had a firm direction of where or what he wanted his characters to be. But the story's pretty good. I enjoyed the story. If you definitely, you know, grew up during the 90s, you know, reading comic books or getting into music and stuff like there's a lot of 90s references to this. The artwork, I think, is really cool because it's a little bit more cartoony than what Ethan puts out today. I just think it's a lot of fun. I just don't know why I really didn't get on board with Ethan's books in the 90s. You know, he talks about in his live streams being pals with Matt Martin, who created Snowman, and then I hope I said his name right, Trent Knuga, who created Creed. And I actually got into Creed. and I got a little bit into Matt Martin stuff, but I never got into Ethan stuff for some reason. But this book was just drawn very fun. Um, it's over exaggerated, it's over the top, beautiful colors, as you can see. The lettering was all redone. And that's another thing. I was surprised to see how much like Ethan did on this book. I mean, he wrote it, drew it, lettered it. He did everything, and that's what you had to do, I guess back in those days, to even, especially with indie comics, to get your stuff out there. So definitely a recommend for me for Cyberfrog, Unforgettable Tales #1. And then to follow that up is, if you backed the campaign, you already know. But if you didn't, you're going to be surprised. You also get Unforgettable Tales #2. Same team: Ethan Van Sciver, Kyle Ritter, Eric Weathers. Some more great Froggy art if you're a Cyberfrog fan. Even if you're not a Cyberfrog fan, if you're a fan of books from the 90s, which I think that was really my high point. I mean, I started reading comics in the early 80s. I want to say 1980, 81. And then, I loved the work that was in the books at that time. But then when the late 80s and the early 90s came around, there was just an explosion of talented creators that came on board to comics. And comics just kind of became bigger than ever, really. The more artwork, sometimes the story was a little bit sacrificed and the focus was on the artist, where now we see today a lot of focus is on the writer and not the artist as much. But this was, to me, was a magical time. This was a great time of creation. I was in the Navy at the time, and yeah, I wish I could have been there to try to do something. I would have loved to have been in the industry. But life takes us in different directions and everything like that. So, like I said, the artwork isn't as good as what you saw in Blood Honey if you back Cyberfrog Blood Honey, and it's not as good as the artwork I know we're going to see in Wreck Planet, because I've seen samples of that. But I mean, this thing is put together like a brick wall. I mean, the paper is thick. You got this beautiful shiny cover. There was definitely a lot of thought put into the process of bringing out a book. And how many artists really do that? It's how many artists will release their old work, take the time and the money that it takes to remaster a book, to put it out there. And these are, I think you may even still be able to get these on Indiegogo. If you either search, Ethan Van Sciver or Cyberfrog, they come up. Each book was $10, which I think is a deal for the quality that was put into the book. And you also got some other goodies. So you got a Blockhead Cyberfrog, and I think there's like 1 or 2 Cyberfrog cards in there. It looks like there's a Cyberfrog bookmark. It's like, you really can't get better than that. That's pretty good for so $20 plus shipping. Get 2 great books, and you get a Blockhead, which I haven't attempted to even try. I hear they're not necessarily the easiest things to put together, and I'd rather save it like this, just as a little memento of backing Cyberfrog Unforgettable Tales. That's a mouthful. So definitely, if I do believe they're on Indiegogo still, you can get them. If you miss Cyberfrog Blood Honey, I know they're on eBay. Ethan has an eBay store there. They usually ship out in 1 or 2 days. You get them really, really quickly. I think that's actually how I got my Cyberfrog Blood Honey book, is I actually went through their eBay store and I got it really, really quickly. And then on the Indiegogo, you can also find the Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet campaign, which is, of course, the sequel to Blood Honey. It looks like it's going to be a really good book. You get a lot of add-ons to it. So, you're paying $25 for a book, a 48-page book, but you're going to get I think there's like one or two additional books you get, plus you get cards and all this other stuff. So $25, is actually a pretty fair price. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my camera because I don't have anything else I want to show you. And I know there's only a limited amount of time that people want to look at my face. Oh, sorry, I missed this. Drawing Aces, hail, brother. Hey, thank you for joining the chat. I really appreciate it. I don't usually get people in here when I'm live streaming, but I appreciate you coming by. Let's see. This is going to be a pretty short stream. I just wanted to show off those books and the novel, and ask people. It's like if you're a comic book fan, don't be afraid to venture out away from the big two. Marvel and DC, or any of the other ones like Dark Horse or Dynamite or whatever. Go to crowdfunding places like Indiegogo. There are a ton of creators on there who are trying to get their books out, and you got so many different types of books, different genres, different levels of writing and drawing. There's some big names out there like Ethan Van Sciver, grossing $1 million. I know Keanu Reeves now has a Kickstarter campaign for Berserk, and that's probably going to break $1 million or even possibly $2 million. I know there's Tony Daniel is the artist, and Scott Snyder. Yeah, Scott Snyder is the writer. They have I don't know if it's Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but they have a book out that's going to come out. They're doing it a little weird. I don't like the way they're necessarily doing it, but it's interesting to see like a big name writer like Scott Snyder along with Tony Daniel, who I've been a fan of since The 10th, which was his creator-owned property that he went through Image with. And that's where I really discovered I discovered a colorist that I fell in love with their work, and I was blessed to know this person for the last year and a half or 2 years of his life, Drew Posada. So I have a kind of a big sentimental connection with Tony Daniel. So I think their book looks really good. So it's like now you're going to see all these people come to crowdfunding, which it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It's like I hope people who come to crowdfunding comics, like sites like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, they leave their politics, their social agendas, their views on whatever out of the books. I think the best thing about indie comics is like a lot of the time it's just a book that's an enjoyable read. Something that kind of ticked me off today, I've been waiting for Marvel released an Ultraman comic book. And I remember as a kid, like about 5-6 years old, watching the reruns of the 1960s Ultraman series. And Ultraman was one of my favorite superheroes, quote unquote superheroes, along with, if anyone remembers, the live action Shazam Saturday morning show. And then later it became the Shazam and Isis Power Hour. But yeah, it's like Ultraman and Shazam really was the first time that I got exposed to like superheroes. And I fell in love with watching them, watching the cartoons. And then around 80, 81, I discovered comic books, and I haven't looked back since. So, so all I guess I can say is, if you're, well, with the Ultraman thing, I wanted to say is they kind of pissed me off because I read the first issue and then there was no fucking Ultraman in it. It's like, there was this kind of energy Ultraman thing that didn't do really anything. And I'm just sitting there going, wow, man, it's like, this is your first issue and you're just going to take it up with kind of a bland opening story and then throw in some cartoonish looking stuff and then another story that I don't know. It's like, for me, it's like, you don't do that. It's like, if you're going to have Ultraman #1, it's like, you're not going to have Superman #1 and not have Superman in it. It's like, and that's my problem that I have with mainstream comics, is that, you buy these books, you see these wonderful covers that show like all this action and stuff, and then you get into the book and it's like 15 pages of people just talking about, hey, what do you think we should do about this situation? Hey, would you pass the fries? I love fries. Last week I had some great nachos. That's what mainstream comics books is coming to. It's like, now they're and I have nothing against this, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but it's like, now they're making, Hercules bisexual, and he's in a relationship with Marvel Boy or something like that in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. It's like, I don't think the mainstream understands that, like, when you do things like that to characters, you have to develop into that. It can't just be a flick of the switch. Hey, did you know Iceman's gay? And Hercules is now bisexual. And we're gonna draw the She-Hulk bigger than the Hulk. It's like, you got to gradually bring people into that kind of story. It's like, I don't care if Hercules is bisexual and he's in a relationship with Marvel Boy. I don't care. I don't care that Iceman's gay. It doesn't matter to me. It's like, I don't know where we went wrong. It's like, you used to be able to just pick up a comic book and have fun. You could just, read the book, be entertained, go on this wild adventure, with, Spidey through the streets of New York, or Thor flying overhead, or Iron Man, doing whatever Iron Man does. Someone stole his technology, he has to get it back. Like, all these different entertaining things. It's not that you can't have some social commentary in comic books. I mean, if anybody is as old as I am, you remember that, Tony Stark used to be an alcoholic. And it was a serious problem for him, to where he lost Stark Enterprises, or Stark Industry, whatever it was called at that time, to Obadiah Stane, who eventually, I think, became the Ironmonger. But that was addressing social issues. Look at alcoholism. We've had comic books that have addressed the use of drugs. We've had comics that have addressed the famine plight of Ethiopia. We've had comic books that have addressed a devastating event in our lives, the World Trade Centers coming down on 9/11. It's like, yeah, you can put stuff in comic books, but you can't slam people over the head with it repeatedly. It's like, you want to make a character, you want to change a character, take a year or more, if necessary, to take that character from what the fans know that character as, to what you think that character is now. It's simple as that. It's like, you can't just sit there and go, oh, they're gay. It's like, Iceman's gay? I thought he was a womanizer. I thought he was always after the women. When did he become gay? And wouldn't Jean Grey have known? I mean, how many telepaths are on the X-Men? Someone would have known, right? I don't know. But they just want to do that. And that's, to me, is just like, you're paying $3.99, $4.99, $5.99, $7.99 for these mainstream comic books that are just 20 pages of talking. They're slowly shrinking the sizes of the books. They're charging you just as much as you were paying for the little bit bigger size books. I think it went from 24 to 22, and now it's like 20 pages on a lot of books. But they're charging you the same price or more. And the stories are just, hey, look at this character. They're gay. You love them, right? You should. If you don't, problem. Hey, do you like the artwork? We found this person on Tumblr. We picked them because they don't live in the United States. They live in maybe a third world country, and we don't have to pay them as much. Read our books, because we're giving you quality. So Um, if you're a fan of comics, and you just want stuff to read that's entertaining, look at independent books. You can look at the big top tiered people like Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, Richard C. Meyer, you know, any number of the other ones, Raging Golden Eagle, if you're kind of a manga fan, Xenotype by Liam Gray, another manga style, bigger campaigns, and you can look at other people who maybe are just breaking in. They're not knowns, they're unknowns. And they're making $1,000, $2,000 trying to scramble to get their book out. Look at those books, look at everything, and find stuff that you like. And sometimes it's also nice, like, even if you know that you're not 100% going to like the book, you support it anyways. It's kind of like when you drive to your comic book. I don't know if you've ever done this. I've done this so many times. You drive to your local comic book shop and you're expecting, oh man, all these books are going to come out. I'm going to love them. And I'm talking like back in like 2008, 2009 time frame, really. It's like, I can't wait. I know I'm going to spend probably about $40, $50 this week on getting some comics I love. And you go in there and you're just like, man, I got like 2 comic books. It's like, man, that kind of makes driving here like that was a waste of time, you know. So then you end up, at least me, I would browse and I would pick up books that maybe I hadn't heard of or were new to me, or maybe the art spoke to me, or maybe it didn't, but the idea, the concept of the book kind of grabbed my attention. The same thing with here. It's like, it's great to throw money. You give your money to people who are from the professional industry that has moved into independent comic creating through crowdfunding. But crowdfunding also has a lot of people, and I mean, and I'm one of them. I had plans to put out a book this year called Devilish Deals. My icon that you see on YouTube is the main character of my book, and he's the devil. And I wanted this book to come out this year or early next year, and then money becomes an issue. And like I said, it's like you really have to look about what you're spending when you're going to create a comic book, because you have to pay your artists, your artistic team, I'll say, because a lot of time it's a penciler, an inker, and a colorist, or maybe a penciler who inks his own work, and then a colorist. And sometimes you get the trifecta in one person, but you still have to pay them. When you're looking at a 48-page book, if you're paying $150, say, a page, or if not more, because they're doing more work, that adds up. And for me, it's like, I have enough pages, I think, that would bring interest to the project, but I don't feel comfortable launching something without it being done. So I don't know when this book is going to get done, if it ever will get done. But that's why I say it's like, try to look at smaller creators. There's so many different types of books out there. It's like, I've gotten superhero books, I've gotten horror comics, I've got sci-fi action comics, and everything in between. Books about finding and tracking down these ancient artifacts of power. It's like there's so much stuff out there. It's like, don't feel that you're limited to just being pigeonholed into the mainstream machine, because they're really not selling a lot of anything that's good. Every now and again, you'll get 1 or 2 good books, and but you're lucky to get that really every week. And so I know the big thing for Indiegogo and Kickstarter crowdfunding is, one, that there's a wait to get the book. You don't get instant gratification. You usually have to wait 6 months to a year minimum, usually. And then there's also the concern about, is this person or team of people going to actually fulfill my comic book? Am I actually going to get what I paid for? And I'll tell you, it's hard to put trust in people you don't know. It's hard to back projects that you sit there and go, man, I can't wait to get this. Am I going to get it? And I'll tell you, it's like I've been burned, like probably anybody else listening to this video has, if they helped crowdfund a project of any kind. I've been burned on a couple of projects. I'm still waiting for one that I supported 4 years ago. I think August was the 4-year mark of me, supporting this book. And I've talked to the creator of this book. He's a professional in the industry. His name's recognizable. People probably know his artwork very well. And this person is, unfortunately, he doesn't communicate very well with his backers. He kind of gives a lot of reasons why the book is taking so long. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I don't believe you, or I do believe you, or whatever. It's just, I mean, come on. It's like, if you guys are going to do a book, do something that you can manage. It's like, I know a lot of books that are coming out now are 48-page minimum. And then you got people who go into the hundreds of pages, and Xenotype, I think, is over 200 pages. And if you can manage 48 pages or 100 and some pages or 200 some pages, that's great. If you can't, look at 22 pages, 24 pages of story. Make a small book. Yeah, it's a floppy, and maybe people are looking for more of the trade back looking kind of square bound books and things like that. But it's actually it's cheaper for you to produce a 24-page book that you can get out to people to build your reputation. Like, my first book was going to be 48 pages, and now I'm thinking it was going to be 3 stories that equaled 48 pages. It was going to be an anthology where, the antagonist was the devil, and you would meet different protagonists in different times who kind of ended up under the spell of the devil and made these deals. And now I'm thinking, it's like, well, why don't I just write a 24-page story? Take the first story, which was going to be 14 pages, make it 24 pages, have a good, look for an artist that, I feel would match my story as well as artwork that I like. I've been working with Jason Johnson and Ian Hanning on this, and it's not that they're bad. I love Jason's work. I've been a huge fan of Jason since the 90s. I've been a fan of Ian's probably for just as long as a colorist. But, maybe that's not the way the book is going to go. I don't know. It's like, it's scary. People don't understand that. It's, if you have money to back it up, if you sit there and go, I got like this money in savings that I could spend, I don't think I would spend my savings. Some people, I'm sure, put things on credit cards. That might not always be the smartest thing to do. But if you have the money available to put into a book, it's like, you don't have to jump into the deep end of the pool. You don't have to just say, I got to put out an 80-page book. I got to show these people what's going on. No, you don't have to. You can put out a 24-page book. Yeah, you're not going to charge $25 like a lot of people who crowdfund do for 48-page books. You can do it for $10. That's really not that much more expensive than what comics are selling for on the shelf from the mainstream industry. Anyways, guys, I'm sorry. I get into rambling, and I don't get to do these streams very often, so I don't know if I should just kind of blabber on, or should I just keep things short and sweet? I don't know. Maybe I'll start just doing pre-recorded videos, and then I can go back through and just edit all my BS. If anyone's interested, I will share this. If anyone's interested in my love-hate relationship with the Huan tablet that my wife got me for my birthday, if anyone out there is familiar with Wacom tablets, and I never got into the high-end 20-inch and 24-inch, Cintiqs or whatever. I did get like a 13-inch HD Cintiq, and when you set it up, you want to set your pressure sensitivity for your pen so that you can start out thin and go thick with your lines, or thick, thin, thick, or thin, thick, thin, or whatever. On the Huan, well, on the Wacom, there's just a there's every model I've owned with the software is just like a bar. The bar is in the center, and then there's 4 ticks to, like, I think the right, and 4 ticks to the left. If you tick it to the right, that means you have a heavy hand. So it's going to compensate for that, so you can go from thin to thick. If you go to the left, you have a light hand, so you barely touch the screen. So that accommodates you to help you make thin to thick lines. With the Huan, there's this box with a line that divides the box at an angle, so it makes the box into 2 triangles, and then there's 2 little blue dots that sit on the line, and you have to move these blue dots a certain way to get your pen pressure sensitivity set to the way you like it. I have yet to manage to be able to set my pen pressure sensitivity by using this kind of method to set the pressure sensitivity of the pen. I feel like when I look at it, like I adjust it like almost every day to try to see if I can get something a little bit better, a little bit easier to work with. And every day I open it up and I look at that box with the line and the 2 dots, and it takes me back to doing algebra or geometry, and I'm just like, what is the mathematical formula for me to set my pressure sensitivity to the way I like it? And then I piss around with it for about an hour, I get angry, and then I just walk away. So that's my love-hate relationship with the Huan. The things I should say, the things I do love about it, I do like working on a 16-inch screen, almost a 16-inch screen. I like it because it does have programmable buttons, so you can put shortcuts on them. I like that. If you look at the Wacom 16-inch, there is no buttons on that thing. It costs about $200 or so more than the Huan. And then you have to buy a remote control kind of looking device if you want to have hotkeys that you can program to do things, so you don't have to keep reaching up to the screen or to your computer or whatever. Because the setup I have now is like I have my tablet on the main part of my desk. I put my laptop on a little shelf that is part of the desk, and I'm right-handed, so my computer's on my right-hand side. So if I used a Wacom 16-inch, I would have to do something, reach over, click whatever the shortcut is on the keys, go back to my monitor, go back to my keyboard to do this. It would just be too long. Now, I know there's supposedly like these software programs that put basically like a little, I've seen it mostly in Photoshop. I don't know if it's supported in Clip Paint Studio, which is what I use, but you can do shortcut keys like that. It's like a software that runs within the software or on top of the software. I don't know how it works. I've seen people use that. I'm a boomer, man. I just turned 49. I'm creeping my way to 50. It's like I'm happy to have been able to master my smartphone, let alone trying to do overlays and these digital keyboards and stuff on. That's just a little too much for me. I like to think I try to keep up with technology to some degree, but I'm not as inquisitive as I was when I was younger. Sorry about that. I had to take a drink. Okay, I'm going to end the stream, but I will end the stream with a question. I used to do videos of me digitally inking. Is this something that people who watch this video, it wouldn't be live. I don't think I would do it live at first. It would be recorded like I've done in the past. Well, no, maybe we just would do it live. So I'm asking anybody who watches this video, whether now or, later on, would you be interested in seeing some digital inking from me? And would you want it to be like pre-recorded and just uploaded onto YouTube, or would you like to see it live streamed so you can hear me curse and complain about my tablet and how I hate this and it makes my life so miserable? And so I'll put that out there. So, let me know in the comments. You can just say like, yeah, digital inking, sure. Or, live digital inking, or nah, no inking, or dude, just give up, stop doing your channel, you're bombing, whatever. It doesn't matter. I do this for fun, and I do try to, like I said, I do it with the intention of making people aware of some great comic books out there, because I am a comic book fan at heart. If you took the writing away that I try to do, or you take away the digital inking, or like I'm trying to get back into digital coloring, take that all away, I would still be a comic fan at heart. And I just want to share with everyone who watches this some books that I think are good. Some, I might sit there and go, I'm a little on the fence with it. Maybe you might like it. Check it out. And if I can help people, like Nasser Rabadi, make a few dollars by, pimping out his book or whatever, his comics or his novels, then I'm just trying to help. The same thing with Ethan. If anybody watches this and goes, "Oh, I've never heard of Cyberfrog," I'm glad I tuned into this channel. I can go to eBay and buy Cyberfrog Blood Honey. I can go to Indiegogo and back Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet, where I can go and support John Malin, or Dan Fraga, or Shane Davis, or Kenneth Rockefort, or Matt Martin, who's coming to Indiegogo, I believe. Support these people. If you want comic books that just entertain, these are the people. John Malin's Graveyard Shift, Cecil's Cash Grab, War Campaign, Vestige #1. I don't know if that's still. I think you can get that as part of their new campaign, which is Vestige 2. It's not new. I think it's in demand. But Vestige 1 was done by Donald DeLay. The artwork was wonderful. Now they have an artist that goes by the name Doodlebags. His artwork looks phenomenal. Gad Hanzo is the writer. I loved his writing on Vestige 1, and I think it's going to be even better on Vestige 2. Support these creators, people. So I'm going to get out of here. I know everybody got better things to do. I thank you for tuning in. Drawing Ace, if you're here, Aces, if you're still here, thank you for watching me live. For everybody else who shows up and maybe watches this video later, thank you. I'm going to try to do them a little bit more regular. I had some health issues going on the past month or so, and it stopped me from doing videos, but I do have to kind of get back into a regular pace of doing these shows. But it's just, unfortunately, comic books don't come out all that great. So maybe I have to go through my long boxes and start pulling out some older books to show people, and maybe that will get people excited about comics again, because that's what it's all about. Let's make comics fun again. Let's make them entertaining. Let's make entertainment the primary goal, instead of pushing agendas. So I thank you, everybody. I'm sorry I went long. I rambled on, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Everyone, take care. Whether like I said, Drawing Aces, if you're still here, take care, brother. And for anybody else tunes in, please take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.